Hello, this is Broyar, and welcome back to another episode of our Let's Play for Football Manager 2021 as we continue our Kidderminster Kids series. And again, we have done it, guys. We have made it to the Vanarama National proper. We are out of the north and on to bigger and better hopeful things. But today's going to be the kind of a little bit of review of the season, how that went, as you guys saw. And then we'll do the transfer special as well, which could be a little bit more interesting. We do have a little bit of money to play around with, to maybe pick up another, player or two that might look halfway decent when they get a little bit older. So we'll see. But let's get into the episode. All right, here we are, Kidderminster Harriers, end of the season review for 2022. The new arrivals. There was a lot, actually. We're not going to go through all of these. Obviously, that would be kind of ridiculous, I think. Actually, there's not that many in this list as I thought there would be. Alex Hutchinson coming in, 7.1 average rating, 36 appearances, 13 goals, 10 assists. Not bad overall. Definitely was probably the player of the season, the signing of the season for us. Is he still going to become... Doesn't say anything here, but I think he will become homegrown at the club. We'll check that here in a little bit. George Scott coming in here. He only came on twice as a starter, 5 substitute appearances, 6.82. Not terrible, to be fair. So we'll see how that continues on as he gets a little bit older. Joe Levy coming in here. Bora Poku, who had 27 appearances. And did he play for us? I actually don't remember. Why do I not remember this guy? And then we got James Campbell coming in and Asa Hughes. So a few players coming in. Only people going out were a couple guys that either were not, they didn't want to stay or were not going to be homegrown at the club. So Sam Austin, Alex Penny, and Juan Polak here. Nobody liked any of these transfers because obviously they were decent players, but they're not homegrown at the club, so we can't keep them. Here's how the season ended up. We did end up on 102 points with a 55-point goal differential. The last few games was actually kind of rough, to be fair. I think the last one you guys saw was it Buxton, maybe? We then went out and only by 1 point beat Redditch United 4-3. We then drew up against Gateshead, had 2 back-to-back losses, and then finally we did pull off a win against Kingsland to get us over that 100-point mark. But still, who cares? It was done. It was a good season. Looks like Kettering definitely made it into the playoffs like we expected. FC United, AFC Telford, Gateshead filed Hereford. We'll see who makes it in behind us. I have a feeling it's going to be Kettering. They played very, very well this season. FA Cup, obviously we didn't make it super far, but, we did win a few games there, so not too bad overall. FA Trophy, we did beat Chester, then lost to Hartlepool United. Not a huge deal. I'm not too worried about these right this stage of the I guess the team, if you will. Once we get a little bit further up in leagues, we'll start caring about some of those maybe a bit more. Honestly, the biggest reason I would care about those is because of the money that we can get from them. All right, moments to remember. And the yawning is going to start, apparently. I don't know why. All right, biggest win was our win against Bedford here, 6-0, with a pair of goals from Mentis, a goal from Maxwell, and a hat trick from Garcia. Match to remember was a 4-0 win against AFC Telford with, they had an own goal, then we got a pair of goals from Mentis and a goal from Garcia in that one. And the goal of the season came from Campbell. Let's go see if we can check out this goal of the season, which was just in a draw. But that's right, there was a draw against Bolton that they ended up beating us in the penalties. Let's see which one. It was Campbell right here. Let's see this goal, this magical goal from him. I actually don't remember this one. This was quite a while back. Hutchinson with the ball, gets it over to Campbell. Campbell from right there. Is he going to get it? Yes, he is. What a good shot. I can see why that was goal of the season. Definitely a good long shot. Lots of power behind it. Well done, guys. All right. The finances, nothing changed with our reputation. Nothing changed with sponsors or anything like that. A little bit lower on the sponsorships. A little bit lower on the broadcast revenue. Not really significant, to be fair. A little bit higher in the corporate hospitality. A lot higher in the competition prize money. We made 30,000 pounds more than we did last season. And then about the same on the match day commercial. A little bit lower, though. Top shirts were sold were Mentis, Garcia, Harlan, Maxwell, and Campbell. Sounds about right. And then here's how we lined up, obviously 4-3-3, with Mentis on one side, Hutchinson on the other, Garcia in the middle, McGuire, Harlan, Maxwell in the midfield. I remember that. We had a few changes there from time to time, but mostly that was it. And then Bellis, Raha, Bakari, Tavares, and of course, Ezra Harry as our goalkeeper. And not a huge surprise there, I don't think. Anything else? Let's see. Apparently, we were the manager of the month in September and March. Club awards, fans player of the season was Mentis, of course. Young player of the season was Mentis. Signing of the season was Hutchinson. Goal of the season, we saw that one was Campbell. Top goal scorer was Mentis with 35, and I can't talk and yawn at the same time. And the most assists was from Mentis as well. Actually, that's a little bit surprising. I'm surprised he had the most assists. Most player of the match awards, Mentis, not too surprising there. Highest average, Mentis, all Mentis. And then pass completion with James Campbell. Competition awards, nothing there. Record breakers, 35 goals by Mentis was the most goals by a player in a season. Most goals by a player in a league match was 3, which we've seen people get 3 before. Most player of the match awards in a season was Mentis with 13. Worst discipline, Sorta, 19 yellow cards. Goodness. Most league goals by a player, Mentis with 72. And then Campbell was our youngest goal scorer at 17 years, 353 days, just before his 18th birthday. All right. History in the making. They say it's important to get off to a good start, but it rings as true as ever for Kidderminster as they celebrate promotion. And there we are, getting promoted up. All right, well, that's that. Players inducted into Kidderminster overall best 11 squad. Looks like Matthew Harlan made it in. Garcia, White, Tavares, Hutchinson, Bello all made it in. Of course, Mentis is the best striker that this team has ever had. Ejahari, best goalkeeper. I mean, we got actually most of our team is actually on this field right now, which is crazy. Kidderminster season review, we just saw that. We were quiet and leaky on the defense, but we were aggressive and clinical on the attacking. Club vision. What do they want from us? Fight bravely against relegation. Goodness, the yawning. I have not yawned this entire time. I've been sitting here for hours. I've been actually just filmed like a couple videos for the Glory Hunter series and not a single yawn. And now I'm yawning for you guys. Go figure. Play possession football, play attacking football, develop players using the club's youth system. Obviously, we're going to be doing that one. Make the most of set pieces. We'll try. Play high-tempo pressing football. We will try. Work within the wage budget. I can agree with that. And then just fight bravely against relegation. And they want us to be established in the Vanarama National. And that's it. That's literally as far as they want us to be, is be established. So we'll accept that. Obviously, we have much bigger ambitions than that, but we'll accept that for sure. We'll discuss the plans for next season. I'm optimistic we can avoid relegation. You're not going to get very far asking the squad to compete on a level we're not remotely close to. I'm asking you to fight against relegation. I'm going to say I'm expecting their best. Apparently they're all offended. Wow, that was a bad team meeting. Great. All right, whatever. We're not going to discuss promises next year. Wow, this team is just not got much hope for next season, huh? Well, thankfully that was the end of season meeting and not the beginning of season meeting, so hopefully we'll get off to a better start when we get back. But, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's going to be hard. It is going to be really tough, especially with this whole mentality of playing youngsters and only playing homegrown at club players. But we do have a couple of good homegrown at club players that hopefully will continue to develop and get stronger. In fact, can we see, was it the Dev Center? We do have a couple youngsters coming up. Here's a couple 17-year-olds that could be as good as maybe 3.5, 4 stars, something around there. So that would be good to see. Where is our, I want to look at squad, and let's just look at just our senior squad for right now. And if we just sort by name for a second, can I look at your progress? There we go. All right, so here is this guy's progress over the course of the year. Not honestly, he actually looks like he kind of went down a little bit. Did he really start it? Well, I guess he didn't really go anywhere past two stars, so nothing there. Here's Bakari. Started off about 2.5 stars, ended about 2.5 stars. Anybody? Let's see if we can scroll through, see if anybody went up. There we go. Jack Barrett. Starting off at 2 stars, ended at 2.5, so he went up a little bit. It's good to see somebody progressing a bit. Bello, not super great. Billum, not great. Campbell, looks about the same. Diaby. Ejahari, starting off the season at 3.5 stars, ended the season at 4 stars. So it's good when we have a player who already started good get even better. Fremantle, nothing there. Garcia started off about 2.5, ended about 3. So a little bit of an improvement, although a little bit of dip towards the end here. But hopefully he can swing things back around again. Gittery, he might have gone up a smidge. He did go about 0.5 star. Matthew Harlan, he might have gone up a little bit. He was at 3. Nope, he's still at 3. Okay. Ashton Henry started off at 2, ended at about 2. So, but I think he's going to be close to 2.5 because he is definitely going up and improving as time goes by, which is good to see. Alex Hutchinson here was not even on the charts apparently when we picked him up, or maybe he come off the youngster squad, and now he's a 3.5-star player. So that's not bad. And Joe Levy, not much improvement. McGuire started off at 2, ended about 2.5. So tiny improvements there. Keziah Martin. There's Luke Maxwell. Started at 3.5, ended probably about 3.5 as well, right? Yeah, he did. Darnell Mintus was at 3.5. Got as high as 5.5 or 4.5, sorry. And I think this is around the time he got injured, wasn't it? And then he ended the season at 3.5 again. So that's a bit unfortunate, considering this huge jump up and then just a drop off here towards the end. Hopefully that was just a bit of a slip up towards the end because of the injury or something like that, and he turns it back around. Obviously, we know he's a good player, though. Mulvaney, Palmer, I should say, sorry. Started off at 1.5, ended at 1.5. What does that say? Under 19s. Oh, he's the goalkeeping coach. I was like, why does it say that? Central midfielder. Started off at 2, ended at 2. Nothing changed really there. George Scott, 1.5 up to 2, so tiny improvement there. Saraha, he didn't really change at all, did he? Nope, not really at all. Looks like everybody had kind of a dip down here around January, it feels like. Stavro, started at 2.5, ended at 2.5. He looks like he might be getting close to a 3, though, so that's not bad. Tavares, started at 2.5, ended at 2.5. But again, still improving a bit. Sam Unwin, 2 to 2.5, so tiny improvement there. And Jaden White started off at 2.5, ended at 3. So that's pretty good to see. And then there's back to Anakin. So a few guys improved, most of the guys stayed about the same, though, to be fair. But that's really all this is about, right? This is about finding the few guys that can improve, that will improve, keeping them, maybe moving some of the other ones on or whatever, and then just continue to try to rotate in guys that are capable of improving and hopefully building a squad around them. Now, the big thing about that, though, is we've got to keep these guys. We've got to keep the guys like Mintus and Hutchinson and stuff like that. Can we? I don't know. We'll find out. All right. Well, that's that. I'm going to go ahead and pause. Well, put my own little pause in there, a little skip in there, because I'm going to go away, do some transfer stuff, see what we can get. I do have this guy, Lee Jonas, coming in. He comes in like a few days before his 19th birthday, so I think it's going to time out just right. He turns 19 on July 6th. We'll get him on June 9th. It's about a little bit less than a month, but he's a proper 2.5-star fullback, can play center back. So we'll see what he can do for us. Hopefully he's somebody that can come along and develop quite nicely for us. But that's the only one that we've done so far, but we'll do some more and I'll show you guys what that looks like. And we'll get ready for our next season, which hopefully we do way better than our team thinks we'll do, because they are not holding up much hope that we're going to stay above the relegation spot. So we'll see. But we'll be back when there is some more news to have. All right, we are back. Not quite done with the transfers yet, so I'm not going to show you any of those at the moment. But we did get the notice that a bunch of our player contracts have come up ready for expiration. And we kind of need to make some decisions about who we're going to keep, who we're going to move on, things like that. Actually, let me get my head out of the way just for a little bit. Because there are some guys down here at the bottom to look at as well. So here's the list of people coming up. Like I said, contracts expiring, either already expired because this guy's on a non-contract, or will be expiring in the next, what, I guess month or so. So people that we want to consider either releasing, renewing contract, whatever. I have customized my view here. So I added on their homegrown status, due date, as well as kind of their ability, kind of average rating, things like that. So we can kind of get an idea of what we want to do here. Guys like this at the bottom here. I mean, yes, this guy is currently trained at club, but I mean, he's not going to be anything that we're ever going to use, unfortunately, and he's not going to be of any value for us to sell on. So guys like this, we are just going to go ahead and straight up set for release. Set that to yes. Jack Tolley here. Let me come back to him. Definitely these guys that have a maximum of 2-star. I'm for sure going to be moving on at this point. So we'll go ahead and move on. Mr. Tom England and Eddie Fowler here. So that's a couple more, and I think I can put my face back on here now. Yeah, looks like we're good. Because those are just the guys at the bottom. Jack Tolley over here, who his best could be as high as 2.5-star. Currently, the most we know is 1.5-star. Honestly, he's 20 years old, and if that's as good as he's ever going to get, has got an average rating of 6.43 for whatever games he did play for us. I don't think he's going to be worth anything ever. So we're going to go ahead and set him for release as well. And the more guys we set for release, the more that we'll have available, more money we'll have available from our kind of our salaries and stuff like that to get other players in here. Now, most of these guys are on pretty low salaries, to be fair. You know, 150s to 160s, things like that. Anything, honestly, 200 and under is really, really cheap and worth keeping if they're going to be worth anything at all, ever. Ian McKeever here. I think that's how you say his name. Ian McKeever. I mean, he could be worth as much as 1.4K. He's only 1 star now. Could be as high as 3 star. He's the guy just above my head over here. So we're in a good spot there. Honestly, he might be worth keeping around, at least until we know for sure if he's ever going to get past this 2 star, you know, rating here. But someone like Brett Taylor here, I think we move him on. He is currently trained at club. So if we ever wanted to bring him back, we could technically bring him back because he is already homegrown at club. But I just don't see him ever becoming anything more than what he is. And we just got to get better players going into this next season. So we're going to go ahead and set him for release as well. Who else here? I think someone like Tom Palmer here, 25 years old, is trained at the club, not worth a lot of money, not going to get any better than a 2 star. I mean, he could be staying on as a backup, but I think we set him for a release as well. Actually, he is... why is it not letting me set him on a release? He is on a contract. It is about to expire. He's not already set to release. Huh, they just want us to set him to a mutual termination, huh? It's interesting. I think I got the mute button in time for that sneeze. So, I mean, yeah, we don't want him. We're not keeping him. He actually does cost us a good amount of money. 350 pounds per week. That's 2 players worth. So I think we definitely will maybe mutual termination, or do we just let it expire at this point? Like, I don't want to spend any money on him. We've only got 1 month left. I think I'll let him just run out. Apparently I can't send him to release, but I'm hoping it'll just run out on its own and go from there. All right, who else we got here? Luke Henworth is borderline. He might be worth, I mean, he could be as good as a 2.5 star. That might be worth keeping around just because it's, it could be a decent backup for a fairly cheap price here. Maybe we go the other direction. We've already set off the ones that we know for sure we want to get rid of. We've released all the ones we for sure want to get rid of. So let me go to the top here. Who are we going to for sure want to keep? Someone like Luke Maxwell, we would love to keep. Unfortunately, he is not interested in a contract. Not even remotely at all. He's currently unhappy with us, so that is not going to change. Unfortunately, I hate the fact that this resets the custom view every time I do that. Jack Barrett here, for some reason, is set to release, and I don't know why, because he could be trained at club here by the 22nd of this year, literally just before his contract expires. So I would like to keep Jack Barrett around if we can. So can we offer him a new contract? Breakthrough prospect, 2.5 star current, could be really decent goalkeeper here. So we definitely want to keep someone like this around. Try to negotiate here a little bit. We'll try and remove the yearly sell wage. I mean, we'll give him a promotion pay bump because we're about to get promoted. And I guess that might bump it up a little bit, but I'm not that worried about it. It's been a hard negotiator. They really like this pay bump thing, the yearly pay rise, which I don't blame them, quite frankly. If I was playing something, I'd like a yearly pay rise, right? A guaranteed yearly pay increase. That would be a nice thing to have. You were determined to have it. Okay, we'll just leave the deal as is. That's fine. And again, I hate the fact that there's got to be a way to lock this, right? Surely? I don't see a way. So if you guys know a way to lock this, then let me know. But we'll just keep setting it back. All right, so that's Jack Barrett there. Offered him a contract. And who else we got? Is there a way to add in contract like an offer? Contract extension, contract start date, contract type. Maybe offer. Offer. I don't see anything offer. Anything related to contract in here? Of offered contract. Would that be what I'm looking for, basically? Status of offered contract. Let's add that in there as an option. And we'll put that at, that's fine to be at the end, I think. So let's say okay. I may have to reset these columns. Is that showing everything I want? I think it is. All right, cool. So that helps a little bit. So we can see that we've offered him a contract. I'll just trim this back a little bit because we don't need all that for the offered status. So we've offered Jack Barrett a contract. So we'll go down the list, like I said, again here. Next highest here is John Farrell, who is currently trained at club. Could be a pretty decent player overall. Not really valued at much right now because he's only 2-star. Honestly, a lot of these guys that are coming up for renewal are not like super great right this second, but we're hoping they get a little bit better. He's only 17 years old, so I mean, that's not bad. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the rest of these and offer contracts where we can, and I'll give you guys an update here in just a minute once I am done. All right, so I've done everything I feel like needed to be done here. As you guys can't see it right here, but these guys down here, Eddie Fowler and below, are the ones that I have already set for release. I did go ahead and offer Ian McKeever here a contract. If nothing else, I mean, he's worth something. Even if we offered him a contract and sold him on for a couple £1,000 or even £1,000, that's something, right? That'll pay for one of these guys a few months. So I felt like that was worth it. Plus, he could develop into some stuff. Who knows? Also, some of these other guys that had some decent ratings, I went ahead and offered them contracts because even if they played for the under 23s, I figured that's still something that shows that they played fairly well. And so I offered them some contracts. Some of these guys up here, I felt like had some potential. That's why I offered them contracts. Keziah Martin here was already set to release, but he cannot be homegrown at club, so he has to go. And really the only other one is Luke Maxwell up here. But yeah, everybody else pretty much offered a contract around the same pay wage that they've got now. Maybe a little tiny increase on a few of them, maybe from like 160 to 180 or to up to 200 at most on a lot of these. So should still be a pretty decent wage for us. In fact, if we go look at their finances, I mean, we're still well under the wage budget, and we're going to release a couple guys already that we know about. And we still have some transfer budget as well, because I moved a little bit of the wage budget over just to be able to pick up one or two guys that we saw that might be worth, a couple £1,000 here or there. And like I said, I'll go through some of the players that we've picked up later. We are very, very in trouble on the overall balance, to be fair. But I'm hoping as we move up into some of the other leagues, that some of that will start to fix itself, especially if I can stay fairly far under the wage budget. Ideally, we'd like to go pretty far into some of the cup games or get some good players that we can sell on for a decent pay, increase overall that maybe are already homegrown at club that we could sell on for now and then bring back to the club later when we're in a better position to afford them. So stuff like that might happen. We'll see. But like I said, we'll do some more stuff before now and the beginning of the season, and I will show you the transfers here in a bit. All right, we are back ready to end this transfer special. We are ready for the Vanarama National League here. First game is actually today. So as soon as I finish this episode, I will be starting the episode that shows that against Grimsby, and then we'll be playing Ebbsfleet right after that. But before we get to that, I want to show off a little bit of the schedule. I mean, the friendlies don't matter too much, but I thought we did pretty good. We drew against Notts County, which is a Skybet League 1 team. Maybe they weren't playing their starters. Who knows? We did lose against Nottingham Forest, but that's a Skybet Championship team. But we all lost by 1. So that's not bad. We beat Derby here, who is a Skybet Championship team. Again, take friendlies with a grain of salt. We don't know what players they were playing. We don't know what players. I mean, I was kind of mixing around players, trying to get people fit, things like that. So, but it's still good to see some decent results. That shows that we can be successful with a formation to some degree. And so for right now, we are going to stick with the 4-3-3. I am experimenting with a few other tactics that I've kind of just got sitting there. If it looks like we start to struggle, I might play around with some other things. And we did get some players in that could play some other positions maybe a little bit better than even the positions available in the 4-3-3. But we'll get to that here as we kind of continue. As of right now, finances, I mean, overall balance is still pretty bad. I'm hoping that starts to turn around a little bit. Maybe we'll do a little bit better with our season intake and stuff like that. I don't know. We do still have some transfer budget because I left the the league bonus is the same, but I did lower the cut bonuses a little bit. I don't plan to use this right now. I mean, if we find somebody who's just amazing, we want to spend some money on them, sure, but I don't plan to use this right now or go any higher on the wage budget. I'd like to try and keep it as under as we can to hopefully help our overall balance a bit. I mean, projection is still going to be, yeah, super negative. We're going to be in the millions of negative. So we've got to continue to push up the league, or else we're just going to be in big time financial trouble. Or, you know, we're probably gonna have to start selling some players that we get that are halfway decent to help us out a little bit. We get to keep 0% of the transfer revenue. So any players we sell are literally just to help the bank budget at that point. As for transfers, here are the transfers we brought in. We did bring a few guys in. It's possible I went a little crazy, as you can see on one of them. I'll show you these guys first. We brought, yeah, I didn't buy this on June 9th here. So we brought Lee Jonas in here from FC United for £2,000. He's valued actually at 7.25, so already potential profit there. He can play on the right, he can play in the middle, so we'll hopefully play around, figure out what he's best at. We got him just before his 19th birthday, so I think he still counts as being a potential homegrown at club, although he does say he's club trained at Liverpool. I think he'll come in as home club trained for us because he came in right before, while he was still 18. We'll double check here in a minute. We then brought in Tom Stansfield here. He's also another center back, only 2-star current. Could go up a pretty, decent amount. Got him on a free. He's already valued at 15.5, so that's not bad. But really not paying a whole lot of money for him. We're actually paying minimum wage as well. So, get some of these guys on a free. Sometimes they turn out good, sometimes they don't. Hopefully it doesn't cost us too much in the process. Haroon Hamid here comes in as a midfielder. Could play also as attacking midfielder if we decide to play that position. Again, another player who came in just before his 19th birthday. And current 2.5 star, could go as high as 4 potentially, but also valued, 8.5K, so it's not too bad. And then John Watson here coming in. We brought him in probably to play primarily as a midfielder, although again, if we do decide to play a left winger on either attacking side or just straight up midfield, then he could play that position quite nicely. In fact, that is his better position. But he's valued pretty well, and I'm hoping he can kind of grow into a more of a midfield role, be a little more dynamic, and can play around in all these spots, to be honest. And then finally, you saw the big one. Probably overpaid for this guy. Truth be told, here's what happened. It didn't say 30K when I was originally signing him. It said 0. But there must have been something thrown in there that I missed, maybe I misread something. I don't remember. And so I had a decision to say, you know what? I'm not going to bring him in for 30K. I had the option to not bring him in at all. But I was like, he actually does look like a pretty decent player. He could be trained as a central defender. He could be trained as a wing back on the right if we ever wanted to play 5 at the back. Defensive midfielder, again, if we want to play that position, that gives us another really strong option. But I also think he's going to be a really strong midfielder. In fact, he comes into our starting lineup right away. Worth 15.5. If he starts to develop at all, we could easily, I think, sell him for well over the 30K that we spent. So I think he could turn into a profitable player if we can get him to boost up quite a bit in his training and stuff like that. So we'll see. Maybe a risk, but sometimes you got to take a few risks here and there. And somebody who's already current 3-star, I think people like that are worth the risk for us. So overall, our squad, let me go look at our team report. Squad depth, that was one of the formations that I was kind of playing around with to look at. But the one we're going to be playing most of the time is going to be this 4-3-3, which obviously Ejahera coming in as a goalkeeper. He did come back. Oh, important news. Maxwell finally got less grumpy about us. I forget who we got rid of that he was grumpy about. One of the players that was not going to be homegrown at club. He was mad at us about that. That's why he wouldn't sign a contract. He finally said, you know what? I'm happy to stay. So we got him to sign a new contract, which was awesome. Mentis signed a 4-year contract with us. He's not going anywhere anytime soon, I don't think, unless the board makes me sell him for some sort of money because he becomes that valuable. Hutchinson's obviously still in here. Garcia, White, Freeman, Fremantle, sorry. I was going to say Freeman doesn't sound right. Fremantle. So we have some decent strikers up front, which is why we still definitely want to play 3 strikers if we can swing it. But a lot of these guys can play attacking midfielder in the center or on the left and the right. So if we go out and move to some of those other formations, we have people that can do that. Our midfield feels fairly strong. Maxwell Campbell, obviously that new guy Breen coming in right away. Harland, that new guy Hamid. not too bad. He'll be able to come in as a substitute pretty regularly. And then as our defenders, Sharaha obviously still on the left. Jonas, new guy Jonas, coming in on the right-hand side right away, or could play in the center, honestly. He's actually our best center back as well. And then, of course, Maxwell Bakari, all those guys still in the mix. So we've got some decent players, some guys sticking around, and we'll see what they can do. But that's the team. Let me know what you think in the comments below. How did I do? We also have this new guy, Michael Cavanaugh, 17 years old. He's actually joining us on October 1st, which I believe is his 18th birthday. So basically, as soon as he gets out of his youth contract, he will be joining us right away. He comes in as a potential 3.5-star DLP, which would be awesome. But he could also potentially play as a attacking midfielder or a striker. So he could be a strong player for us, although I don't like the fickle personality. That's a bit unfortunate. But other than that, I think he could be a pretty strong player for us. We'll see. Already valued at 11.25. We're paying 7.5 for him. So we'll see if he develops into something as well. But that's it. That's the team. Not a lot of transfers in. A couple big, obviously the big one. And then a couple others that we paid some money for. So it's not all free transfers as well. But not a lot of quantity transfers. And did we get... I don't think we actually lost anybody, really. Sam Austin. That's who Maxwell was upset about. Us getting rid of him. But other than that, yeah, really only people that have been leaving are people that have left on freeze, because they are, like, as you can see, we've had some released players here and there. So a few guys that got released just because either they didn't qualify as homegrown, or we just didn't feel like they were playing very well. So we got a few of those that have gone on their merry way. Anything else to look at? I don't think so. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty happy. I'm feeling pretty excited about what is to come this season. I hope we do well. The players, I did have another player meeting with them, and they are happy to accept that we're good enough to compete against relegation. Whereas at the end of the last season, if you guys remember, they were kind of grumpy about me suggesting that. They're like, hey, we're not good enough for that. Well, they came back from holidays and they're like, we're okay with this. We're okay with going against, trying to compete against relegation. So we shall see. The team that came up with us is... Can I spot them right away? I don't remember. Oh, Wrexham already played. I don't remember which team came up with this. Let's take a look here. Let's go look at... It's not what I wanted. I want to go down a league. Vanarama National North. Team that came up was... Hereford. Okay. Well, good for them. They came up, and then, of course, the Vanarama National South, they had Woking came up, and Braintree came up as well. So a few new teams that probably around our level that we can hopefully play against. Wow, Woking, 98 points. That's very close to our 100 and what was 102, I think it was. So they did really well in their league last season. All right, well, that's going to be the end of this episode. I'll be personally jumping right into the next episode, which is game number 1 here, and I'm looking forward to our Vanarama National experience. I hope we do well, because we kind of need to get pushed further up as quickly as possible to make some money. Although if we push too fast, our players won't be developed enough. It's kind of a catch-22. We'll see. I do appreciate you guys watching. May God bless you, and I hope you join me again next time. Thank you, and goodbye.